Sunday from northern Israel here. Just a quick update on the situation in the Middle East and here in Israel vis-a-vis the Israel-Hamas agreement about the ceasefire in Gaza and the swap for the hostages in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. And the reality is, it is failing fast.
Go get them now.
Hi. Hello.
Hey.
Hi. Hey, Cece. Hello. Hi. So, the ceasefire is failing fast between Israel and Hamas about Gaza. There is, of course, no ceasefire between Israel and Hamas in Judea and Samaria, so that battle continues. And there was more action today, over the weekend in Jenin, which, if you don't know, is a city not far from Afula, in the area that is under Palestinian control. But importantly, we're already seeing things like the Hamas did not give or release one of the hostages that they said they were going to release over the weekend. And they came out and said, no, they gave information about the fact that she's alive. And she was one of the civilians that they were holding, that they were supposed to release before they released one of the soldiers that they released. There's a whole back and forth about it. The point is that agreement is quickly en route to failure. No surprise there. It brings me no joy to say it, but obviously this was obviously going to happen, and that's why I said so in recent videos here. And then in the ceasefire between Israel and Hezbollah today, that was supposed to see the end of the 60-day period since that ceasefire went into effect, and that has already not ended well, because now you have a number of people in South Lebanon who were killed when they were attempting to approach villages that they were told not to approach. They attempted anyway. Some people got hurt, some people died in gunfire from Israel because they were doing things in violation of the security arrangements that the Lebanese army had failed to implement. The Lebanese army, of course, blames Israel for not implementing the agreement because they have been bombing various targets, including hitting Lebanese army targets. There's a whole back and forth and a disagreement, over what exactly are the details of everything. But in short, since day one of the ceasefire, since the very first moment, since literally when the ceasefire was signed by Hezbollah, they were immediately violating it and have continued to do so. So Israel has been retaliating in response to the violations, and as a result has not yet fully pulled out, as I said would happen, of South Lebanon. And Hezbollah has not pulled out of South Lebanon either. They are not yet all north of the Litani River. And in fact, today, when civilians in the south tried to go back to their hometowns, villages in the south of Lebanon, many of them were carrying Hezbollah banners and flags and posters. And go figure how many of them were actually entirely civilian and how many of them were just Hezbollah members not wearing their Hezbollah uniforms. But that's not the point. The point is, this powder keg is set to go off, unfortunately, regardless of whatever diplomatic efforts are being made. And that's why I said from the beginning of all this ceasefire talk in both fronts, these are temporary measures at best. And of course, you have the reports that President Trump, during the press gaggle on Air Force One, told reporters that he's been speaking to the King of Jordan, and he'd also like to see Jordan take in a bunch more Palestinians from Gaza as well as Egypt. He'd like to see about 1.5. He said there's about 1.5 million Gazans that could go to those countries. I mean, there's obviously more than 2 million Gazans, but like, okay, so that's, the American president is now proposing basically to evacuate Gaza in order to rebuild it. That's not necessarily great. Like, it may sound like, wow, what a great idea for Israel, how awesome that would be. Palestinians just all leave Gaza. That doesn't solve anything, really, if they are all forced to leave Gaza, or if they all choose to leave Gaza. It doesn't change anything. And they wouldn't, by the way. This isn't something that has happened. So I'll be happy to speak more about this in a little bit. Till then, peace.